asked you all for your hot takes on Town of Salem 2 and got a lot of responses, some of which I agree with, others not so much, but it wouldn't be a hot takes video without some controversial responses in it. I asked both here on YouTube and some Town of Salem Discord servers as an experiment, and an interesting pattern came up with what kinds of answers people from the different sources would give. See if you can spot it as I go through them, and I'll reveal it at the end. But without further ado, let's review your Town of Salem 2 hot takes. Death notes are bad for competitive and should be removed. We are definitely starting out strong here. I know this one is controversial, but I actually agree here. Giving evils a way to anonymously communicate with town is way too overpowered and unfairly punishes neutrals most of the time. If a coven member attacks an immune evil, they should have to publicly make some kind of play to vote them out. This gives them the chance of being found out by an observant town, or retaliated against by the neutral who sees them pushing and makes that connection that, hey, they're the coven that found them out last night. Death notes remove this counterplay and ensure coven safety. Chain role blocking and jailing was genuinely healthier for the game. I'm not sure about that one. In Town of Salem 1 it worked because the main evil faction was Mafia, and set role lists included both a godfather and mafioso. If one was role-blocked, the other would perform the attack. So to wind up in a situation where you're able to be spam role-blocked, you had to have already messed up and lost one of them. It doesn't translate as well in this game because only one coven member has an Necronomicon and will consistently be attacking, and if they were able to be spam role-blocked, it would all be over. Vampire is a fun role to play, and it's a shame it got removed from All Any. I'm conflicted about how I feel about vamps in general. Role conversion mechanics can be fun, and I'm sure we all have fond memories of stealth takeovers in Town of Salem 1, but they can also unfairly punish town for playing their objective. You can hunt down the vamps like your alignment demands, but then get bitten at the end after having killed most of them and get dragged down to defeat. Also, I'm sure it must be a pain dealing with the amount of reports that come from vampire-related shenanigans, like townies letting themselves get bitten. New Amnesiac is far better than the old one. Old Amni feels unfair to everyone except the people they side with. Okay, so I'm guessing you're talking about Town of Salem 1 Amnesiac, and if that's the case, I hard disagree. I like the Town of Salem 2 Amnesiac disincentivizes evils from targeting early powerful town claims, but that's the only thing it does well. You're essentially down a town member until they remember a role. Sure, they'll vote with you, but they have no ability that will help you out. Town would have been better off if they had spawned into the game as the role they remembered from the start. TOS 1 Amni was a wildcard, sure, but aside from times where they'd remember Mafia or Coven late game and suddenly give them majority, it didn't feel unfair. You had options to deal with them beforehand. More importantly, I think TOS 2 Amni misses the mark because it takes away players' agency in what they become. It feels like too passive of an ability. Deputy is the most unfun role. You shoot someone once, then either die or just do nothing the rest of the game. Okay, I feel very strongly about this one. If you think your only job as deputy is to shoot someone, you're not playing the role to its full potential. Remember that after you shoot, you are 100% confirmed town, which means it's time for you to lead the game, whisper people, pressure evils into claiming, go full aggro because nobody can question you. You're likely to die to a doomsayer or ritualist, yes, so make the most of your time while you can. I'm not surprised people find this role boring when they play it passively. Coven leader is balanced. Yeah, I have no further comment here, you're just objectively correct. Add a survivor back. No! That role should stay locked in Town of Salem 1 and never return. I have a separate video that goes into more detail about why this role is really unhealthy for the game, I'll link it below, but the short version is that it creates way too easy of a fate claim, is forced by the community to play as passively as possible, and swings the game too heavily in a game about majority. Asking for town protectives and lookouts every game, regardless of your role, isn't throwing. I want to survive so I can influence the game, even if a more powerful role might die, because me being alive is what's most important. Say it louder for the people in the back. This actually gives me the opportunity to talk about an opinion of mine that I haven't gotten to bring up in my other videos, and that's that the player almost always matters more than the role. Your role only dictates your day and night ability, but you will always maintain your scum reading ability, perceptiveness of others, knowledge of game mechanics, and ability to lie on the fly. An aggressive coroner pressuring evils and leading vote for alignment is more valuable than a jailer who doesn't X anyone. Yes, I wholeheartedly agree with you. Don't intentionally let powerful townies die, obviously, but a switch on players' influence can absolutely outweigh their ability's value. Trickster isn't all that bad. You can get some good scum reads and do good things. The only problem with it is that you die after you do your job. I feel if you're playing well and doing good, you shouldn't die in the process. Take some fun out of those roles. I think this take was submitted solely to get a reaction out of me. And it worked! Like Survivor, I have an entire video dedicated to how much this role sucks. Yes, dying in the process killing the fun is a factor, but the solution isn't to make it so you don't die when pulling off a trick. This is the single most unhealthy role in the game. There's no skill or risk involved when using your ability, and the one-for-one you cause has no counterplay. One-for-ones always benefit the faction with majority. Having a role that forces one will always screw over evils unfairly. I hate this role so much, I'm forcing myself to stop rambling here. Go watch the video if you want a more in-depth explanation. I'll link it in the description. People shouldn't hate TP Lookout meta and shouldn't go on random people to reject it. Yeah, I understand not liking what the meta is, but it's the case for a reason. It is the most effective tactic available, and not using the most effective strategy is griefing your team. It's similar to people who don't like vote for alignment. You can be upset that that's the meta right now, and your feelings are valid, but don't take it out on your team. If you feel that strongly about something in the game, join the official Discord server and leave feedback there. TP Lookout meta is so much more tame than what it used to be. I think its current state is a reasonable compromise. And I think that'll do it for the hot takes in this video. In this experiment, something that stood out to me was the kinds of answers people gave depended on where I asked them. Obviously, not every individual person followed this pattern, but generally, much more comments coming from YouTube were focused on the fun factor of roles, how certain roles were underrated or overrated, or specific aspects of the game they enjoyed or disliked. In contrast, people answering on Discord were more focused on the balance of the game or the meta. They cared more about certain things being broken or needing to be tuned. This makes sense to me. The people that are more invested in the game are more likely to join its Discord servers and more likely to see the flaws in the game that need adjustments. When the game is great and only has a couple of issues, I'm not surprised those issues were at the front of the Discord players' minds. YouTube is more casual, on the other hand. People care less about the competitive side and focus more on having fun, and their answers reflect that. Some people that responded even specified that they don't play the game themselves and prefer to watch instead. That also means that the answers here emphasize the entertainment value aspects of the game have, whether something is boring or not, which I didn't see in any of the Discord responses. Overall, I'm just glad to be able to reach all of you from the different parts of the community. Big thanks to everyone who took the time to submit their answers, and I'll see y'all next time.